Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here. I am glad to be here. Contempt. Contempt. The opposite of contempt is love. Do you see contempt in today's world? It's probably the worst it's been in decades. It rivals history. It's shredding families apart. It's shredding our country apart. I'm currently studying a book by Arthur C. Brooks called Love Your Enemies. And when I say studying a book, that's different than reading. When I study a book, it's because I believe that it has enough information and suggestions and ways that it can impact my life and make me a better person and make me more effective. So I highly recommend it to you. It's a book by Arthur C. Brooks called Love Your Enemies. Get it. It'll give you strength. It'll give you ideas. It'll motivate and inspire you. One of the things there is he talks about contempt and the difference between contempt and how love is maybe the opposite of contempt and how you get more love in your life. Basically, he's quoting Covey in a lot of this part of it. He says, if you decide to show love, then you will feel love. Reactive people make love a feeling. Proactive people make love a verb. Love is something you do, the sacrifices you make, the giving of self. Love is a value that is actualized through our actions. Proactive people subordinate feelings to values. So love, the feeling, can be recaptured even if we've lost it. And if that's the opposite to contempt, then doesn't it make sense that we should be exercising more and more love? He also talks about gratitude, and this is the part that got me interested a little bit, because gratitude, quite simply, is a contempt killer. You cannot have contempt for someone to whom you are grateful. And guess what? Just as you can make yourself smile, you can also make yourself grateful, even if you just don't feel it. How do you do that? You go out and express feelings of gratitude, do things for other people to serve. We know for a fact, there was a 2003 study that proved that if we do a gratitude journal, we're going to feel so much better. Our health is going to increase. Our happiness is going to increase. Greater opportunities are going to come to us. Greater relationships will come to us. We know that. But if we're going to kill contempt, if it's going to be a contempt killer, how do we become proactive with our gratitude? Now, I'm going to share with you 9 words that completely impacted my life a year and a half ago. It's so much so that I haven't been using it as much, but in a very extremely positive way. Those 9 words are, can I be the answer to someone's prayer today? Now, I would write those down in the morning. I did it for an entire month, the month of July. I started doing it again. I wrote it twice last week. You see, what that does is when you just ask the question, don't answer it, engages that subconscious mind in such a way that you will actually see things that were invisible to you. You will see people that were invisible to you. You will see opportunities and challenges that were invisible to you. Trust me on this. So just last week, I wrote down, can I be the answer to somebody's prayer in the morning? And I let it go. As I was coming home from a meeting, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a woman with a younger woman and a child walking down the street, carrying a sign. I couldn't see what the sign said, but I was just walking down the street. I don't think I would have seen them otherwise, but I went right by them. 3 or 4 stoplights later, my subconscious mind is ringing the alarm so hard. I recognized it. I knew it. I tried to ignore it, but it was so there. I hung a U. I went back. I was able to find that lady. The sign said, desperate mom with daughter and granddaughter need help. So I asked them what they needed. I talked to them. I emptied my wallet, and they were so excited they cried. But how I felt, my gratitude immediately increased. You see, by making gratitude a verb, and by asking that question, it opens up a whole nother world to you. And I don't know where she went or what she did with it, but it changed me in that moment, and that put a little bit more gratitude on this planet. Now, I asked it the next morning as well. Similar situation. I'm at a gas station getting gas. I'm running a little bit late. I don't have any money in my wallet. I drive out. I see a man with a sign sitting on the curb. And the sign said, had a word in it that kind of caught my attention. It said, I think the word was truly. We truly need help. gas money to da-da-da. And, so I didn't have any money, so I had an excuse. And so I drove right by him, kept driving, and that pounded me again. And so I hung a U, came back, went into the ATM, got some money, came out and stopped and talked to him for quite a bit. And he had a story. It was a great story about how he fixes CBs along the way and businesses down because of telephones, etc. And he's got his wife and daughter, and they're just trying to make their way back to Montana. And if he can get up the road, then he can find some work where there's lots of semi-trucks to work on. So that was his story. So I gave him the money that I'd taken out of the ATM and started to drive off. And lo and behold, I've been talking on the phone, and I had one of those earphones in my ear that told me, hey, I've been disconnected from my phone. And I'm like, oh, man. So I turn around and drive back, park in the parking lot, because I figured it happened when I was getting gas. Looked all around, couldn't find it anywhere. As I was walking, all of a sudden it said connected. So connected, so I looked around, and here's a man with a phone. And he comes over to me, and he says, I was sitting there. I saw this phone sitting out there, and then I saw this car run right over the top of it. And sure enough, tire treads are on top of it. But I got the phone back. But the important thing was, that's kind of a cool story, but the important thing was it gave me a chance to drive by this man again, and he wasn't there. So I slowed down, and I could see him loading his wife and his daughter into the motorhome. And I knew that it was working for him. Gratitude is a verb. If we want to destroy contempt, increase our love, increase our gratitude, but the verb of love and the verb of gratitude. Ask yourself today, can I be the answer to somebody's prayer, and let it go and see what happens? This is the time of year to do that, Have a meaningful week. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.